Welcome in, everybody. Man, that worked like a charm. I thought what I would do was set up a little intro with some music and a little timer, a little countdown timer, just so we can start it, and that gives an alert to people who subscribe and ring the bell to jump on their phone or their computer and watch us live. So welcome, everybody. Let's get a sound check from BB. I think we're all good. I've been doing some tests, particularly with that intro screen. I started working on it about an hour ago, and it's always a little bit of a fire drill. Alrighty, so sound and vision is good. We're going to talk about minor 7 arpeggios today, and the power of them, and that you just don't have to use a minor 7 arpeggio to play over a minor 7 chord. You can do it for a number of different chords and even just regular D minor chords. If you're playing a D minor 7 arpeggio, that's what we're going to be focusing on today. We'll have a little diagram that you guys can utilize, and we got some other goodies that we're going to be talking about as well. So I got a little loop happening. Let's see if we can get it to go here. So we're going to play over top of that, and we're going to use a D minor 7 for a lot of the examples. Got camera 2 going. We're stepping up our game here. We're going to use 2 different shapes today, and there's some of the easier ones to kind of get, and I'll try to get myself angled properly here. The one on the top, you can see it starts on the 5th string. I didn't add any 6th string notes, but we certainly can. And the note there with that's the highlighted, or the oval, the circle, the hollow circle, let's call it that, is our root, and we're gonna have a D there. Our next note is an F, and then an A, and then an C, and that's a full-on D minor 7 arpeggio, just those 4 notes. And an arpeggio of this variety is typically 4 notes, and I can even do, well, I'll keep the graphic on the screen for us. So we're gonna play that, but then we're going to take it up a next octave and play a D, F, A, and C. And I see BB posting, that's right, the formula is 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. And if you were to play a D minor 7 chord, those notes fit really well because they're the notes in the chord. And when there's a groove going like that, you can hear that those will work really well. The other pattern we're going to focus on, and they're all over the guitar, but we're going to focus on these if you've never done them to kind of get your hands working. It's right out, think about a D minor pentatonic scale. What we would do is play D, F, A, C, and then D again. D, F, A, C, D. So it's very pentatonic. So that's a really great one to get started with. So what I'm going to do is, let's just play a little bit, and maybe I'll do this. Let me take this off the screen. We'll do a little P and P, so you can see me there. And I'm just going to roll this and see what happens. Now what I will say before I do that is that I'll kind of launch into a lick or an idea with a minor 7 arpeggio, but I might also play minor pentatonics because they work really well together. So let's try it, and then we'll explain. So there's just a D minor. I actually think I played a D minor chord, not even a D minor 7. That's perfectly fine. Listen to how good these sound. 2. Play a little blues lick after I play the arpeggio. Blues lick. pentatonic. So when you get those really cool sort of interval leaps, nice way to practice. You take a vamp and just work it up and down and hear some notes that sound good. Now we're just putting a D minor 7 arpeggio over top of a D minor chord to give us the root, to give us the flat third, to give us the fifth, the flat 7, and then all over again. If you know this arpeggio and somebody's playing a D minor 7 type of idea, you can just jump on a chord tone. That's an F. It's the flat third. How about the fifth? Really simple. Now you can also use all your blues lick. Let's try that again. So you can see I did some fancier stuff there too, but that's the launching pad that I might take when I'm playing a minor 7 arpeggio idea. So what I'm going to do is probably keep talking and teaching here for another 10, 15 minutes or so, and then we'll jump into the chat. I see there's a lot of chatters here. We got 84 strong in the chat. Would love to see some more folks. Tell your friends. But if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It takes less than a second, probably, or at least a second. And you can always like the channel and do that kind of stuff too, or like the video. All that stuff helps. We've been doing live streams about twice a month right now. And I think that's a really good way to do it so that we're not overwhelming everybody weekly. And we have little topics that we can dive into, which I think is a pretty cool way to do it. I'm a big fan of really just kind of taking things slowly and digesting them fully as opposed to getting a bunch of stuff and drinking from a fire hose. So we're still talking about our D minor 7 arpeggios. And whenever you have, it could be a D minor chord. It could be a D minor 7 chord. And like I said, that loop is just a D minor. So we can even superimpose that C note over top of that D minor chord, and it's still fine, because I want people to think, a lot of times as guitar players we think, well, I can only use this scale here, I can only use this arpeggio here. No, not at all. You can experiment and have as much fun with these different colors as you want. You could hear over a D minor chord, I was playing a C a lot. Sounds great. I just got inspired when I was playing my loop, and I just played a D minor. I didn't even play a D minor 7. So that's some of the stuff that you can do with a D minor 7 or a minor 7 chord or a minor chord with that arpeggio. So for those that are just joining us, we're working on these two minor 7 arpeggios today, which are both D minor, and one starting on the 5th fret and doing this action. So let's go back to our shot here. Now we could take it further and go C and A, but I don't like to confuse people when they're just starting out. So we want to go D, F, A, C, D, F, A, C. Now what I would also think about doing is get familiarized with that pentatonic pattern. We talked about those in our last live stream. D minor pentatonic pattern 4 is right there. And the beauty of that is you always have great notes. Combine it pentatonic. Try and hear when I'm playing a pentatonic. Blues lick, arpeggio. All right? So, fun stuff. Now, let's take it one step further. And let's do this. So, let's change my camera. Let's change that. And let's erase my loop. Now, the notes that BV put up there for our D minor 7, we said were D, F, A, and C. Check this out. If you just take a look at F, A, and C, what is that? F triad. If we add a D to that, 1, 3, 5, 6, we get like a F6 type of sound. Now, you probably won't play a lot of songs that have F6 all the time, but you'll have an F triad. So what if we did like something like this? So there's an F chord. What if we played a D minor triad against that? It works perfectly because the triad's built in. And I would do the same thing. Let me turn that loop down just a smidge. I wish you guys could see all the plates I'm juggling here. But we take that same arpeggio, now when you're playing a song that has an F major chord, so you get a really, really fun 2-for-1 right there. And whenever somebody's playing that kind of, like any kind of major thing, let me turn my overdrive off real quick. Let's loop that. That's a fun little loop. Let's try it again. I hit the switch late. 3, 4. Okay. This darn looper. Okay. D minor, arpeggio 7, arpeggio over top of the F chord. That D, the 6, it wants to go back to the root. But it's a good sort of jumping off note. you're playing Grateful Dead, Allman Brothers, it could be anything that's real major oriented. You can substitute that minor 7 arpeggio over top of the major chord. Now, the easiest way I think to find that is to think relative major minor. So D minor is the relative minor to F major. So I'm always thinking about those. Every time anybody says we're in C, I'm thinking A minor. Somebody says we're in A minor, I'm thinking C. I'm always thinking about both of those at the same time because I know what goes for one will go for the other. So one more thing that I want to mention with this. So we got play a D minor 7 over a D minor 7 arpeggio over its respective chord, or a D minor triad even. You could play it over an F chord. It will give you an F6 type of sound, which is really cool. It's a good alternative when you're playing major. A lot of times people say to me, I can't play major. Try major pentatonic and try its respective minor 7 arpeggio over top of it. So if you're playing in C major, you could play an A minor 7 arpeggio and it would work really, really well. Give you a really cool sound. And good options just to get started with, which is really good when we're sort of jumping off to play a solo. Now, the other really cool thing that we're going to do, there's a reason why I chose D minor. Let's do this. Let me try a loop. 3, 4. That's a G7. Now, one of my favorite things to do is to play a D minor 7 over that. This was what you paid for to get in on this one. Doing that kind of stuff, I'm jumping off from a D minor 7 arpeggio, D, F, A, C, D, F, A, C. Now what's interesting about that is we get these really cool extended notes over the G7 chord. I do it all the time. D, that's the 5th of G7, that's cool. F, that's the flat 7, that's cool. A, that's the 9, so we're getting like a G9 type of sound. And then C is the one furthest out. We could think of that as like an 11 or a sus type of sound. That kind of thing. But if we play the G7 chord again, I even got my Crocs on, don't make fun of me, but I'm using it to turn my knob on my looper. Try this, here's a G7. So it's a little dissonant, a little weird, but what I always do is bring it into G minor pentatonic. Check that out. And if you play a little flurry, that's all pentatonic, but I get into it with the minor 7 arpeggio. So it's all about resolution. You'll hear jazz improvisers and instructors talk about that all the time. I know I got to get back to G7, but I can get shot out of that minor 7 canon. That's a good idea right there. As soon as I hit that C and that D, I go back to my minor pentatonic. Try to see this and this. Those are your minor pentatonic scales. We talked a lot about those last live session, so make sure you're familiar with all of your patterns. I'll do minor 7 to pentatonic all the time. Ah. Listen to when I bring it back home. Blues, arpeggio. I'm just trying to give you some examples there and get your ears open to hearing what we're doing. So my favorite trick, minor seven arpeggio up a fifth from your dominant chord. So you play a dominant chord and then you play and then you resolve it with a minor pentatonic idea. Those will work really well and you'll get all those. People always say, oh, you're playing these outside lines. It's like, not really, I'm just playing a minor seven arpeggio over a pentatonic scale. Really, really fun. Another reason you'll see people doing this is because a lot of times they'll imply a 2-5 change going to a dominant chord. So to a 1 chord. So if you played a G7 and your end chord, like the 4 chord in a blues, is your C7 or C9, sometimes folks will play that kind of idea where they're playing. So the D minor 7 is kind of already built in, is what I'm saying. So it's really cool to approach dominant chords from its minor 7 up a fifth. Okay? That's sort of the moral of the story. So you got over the root, over the major relative, over the F, and then over the fifth is fifth, yes, over its 5-7. So G7, sorry, it would be a G7 up a fifth. Okay? You can think about that a number of different ways. G7 is the fifth of C, if you wanted to think about it that way. But I always like to say, if I have a dominant chord, I go up a fifth and play its minor 7 arpeggio. Gets me some really cool stuff. Great for rhythm stuff too. We talked about that in other lessons where I did my like Robin Ford triad thing. We're playing minor 7 chords or minor triads over top of a dominant chord. That's for another time. It's on the channel. All right, so I've blathered on for about 26 minutes here, and we want to get some questions. So for the next 15, 20 minutes or so, if you got a guitar-related or lesson-related question, fire away. Fire away. Let's take a look here. We got some usual suspects. We got Jeff. Great to see Jeff. Great to see Jeff. If I look up at the screen, it's because I'm watching the chat on a different screen. Hey, James from Michigan. Appreciate you being here. Tim from Oregon. Of course, BB is our moderator, flashing up some links. Let's talk about the links. Let's talk about some other things. I have yet to do a bona fide major minor arpeggio course or major 7 minor 7 arpeggio course. That will happen probably next year at some point. But what we have done is we've done an entire ebook course on dominant 7 arpeggios. We got that in the chat for 60% off, big sale today for that. Now that takes you through the basics of dominant 7 arpeggios. What I would say is if you've never played a dominant 7 arpeggio in your life, and you're playing a G7, yeah, there it is. I can play it and look at the camera at the same time. That's a G7 arpeggio, what I just played there. And you can do the same sort of idea over top of that chord, and that book will get you started. There's even a companion that goes along with it that we can always give you a discount on too if you ask nicely, which helps you actually create solos. This kind of gives you some practice routines and plays them all over the guitar. So that course is on sale in the comments, and BB has the link for 60% off, and it's only 25 copies of those at that discount. So grab those while you can. Also, we're still giving away, we have a few weeks left on the Gibson Epiphone. It's the inspired by Gibson Epiphone Greeny model. I know that link says there's 24 days left, but that's an old picture. But there's still a few weeks left. This is a U.S. contest only. We're going to be doing some international ones as well, so fingers crossed they'll be coming towards you. Also, too, we're about almost ready to hit 100,000 subscribers on the channel, so feel free to drop a subscribe and a like on the video. All that will help us achieve our YouTube goals and dreams. Also, if you need those diagrams, we have a link. You can grab those for free in the chat or in the description. If you see a screen come up that says you need to enroll, that's because just drop your email for free and create a login and username, and you can get not only that, but dozens of other free YouTube videos and contents to them in my site, workingclassguitar.com. You'll get it all for free, and you can go pillage that category till your heart's content. But all we want is your email address to sign up, and you'll do that and create a username and password, and you'll get those goods and a bunch of other things too. All right, hey, thanks VPO Music. I appreciate that. But he said I always remind him of my older brother. All right, good to have some folks from Muscle Shoals. All right, thanks, Jim. Fort Worth has crossed my mind, Chuck. I'm sure you know that song. Sam says the D minor 7 chord is a tetratonic scale, the minor pentatonic minus the 4. If you think that's a good way to memorize it, great. To me, that sounds much more confusing. So I tend to think of it as the 4 notes of a chord, and that has always helped me. So Mark is a member at Working Class Guitar. He's a VIP and says he's starting the first lesson in blues chords. Glad to have you aboard, Mark. Please check out our community section too. We've just launched a community inside of our own site that is giving us the opportunity to have everybody interact with each other, post videos and comments. I jump in there daily and I take a look and see what's going on. It's a lot of fun. So it's like a little Facebook group inside of our own site. So it's curated by us. It's a safe place to share your thoughts and your feelings and playing. But we kind of don't want sex, religion, and politics in there. That's the only thing. Jim Depp says, got a black magic woman, can't get it out of his head. Yeah, that D minor, I kind of did that on purpose. I figured some of you would get a kick out of that. And Chris says he has most of my lesson videos. Thank you so much, Chris, for the support. Really appreciate that. John says, seems to be wandering all over like I do when I solo by ear. Yeah, I mean, your ear's an important tool. It's always right. It's always telling you what is pleasant to your ears. Yeah, VPO Music says, that's a cool guitar for sure. We've been getting a lot of folks asking about the Powers electric guitar that I've been playing in our lessons here. I love every guitar I have. I wouldn't own them if I didn't, and I sell the ones that I fall out of love with. But these have been really fun to play. I made a video with Andy Powers on the channel. You can see, and hear all of his insight into how he started building these really cool electric guitars. I'm a fan. They play great. They feel good. And the reason I'm using them a lot in our lessons is because we're here for 45 minutes or an hour, and they're super light and very balanced. Look, it sits right on my lap there. Doesn't give you any neck dive or anything like that. So that's why I've been using these really, really comfortable, fun guitars to play. And yeah, Steven, have you done a review of the Andy Powers guitar? There is a link. There is a video on my channel where I talk about all of the details, and Andy talks about them. So we interviewed Andy, and it went really well. Jeff Bailey says, first time trying one of the lessons. Good stuff. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Sign up at Working Class Guitar. You can always do that. Yeah, definitely have to have more of this practicing over a 1-chord vamp. I think the 1-chord vamp trains our ears better than having multiple changes go by. I think that's really, really important to consider. And you can find any one chord vamp on YouTube, and that's just a one chord. A vamp is just a chord playing over and over again. In a musical context, it's usually until there is a direction from a band leader or someone that says, okay, stop playing that, we're going to the song now. If you play Jeff Beck's licks all day, your fingers probably will hurt. Yeah. What you need is a Jeff Beck Strat. I got one of those back there I'm going to do a video with, and we'll give that one away. If you're playing an A7 vamp, what would you recommend for improv? British Blues Posse is waiting. A7 vamp, it depends. Style is a really important thing. You know, if somebody's playing A7 and they want to kind of play a shuffle, I might just start pentatonic. Pentatonic, flat 5 for blues scale. But if I wanted to dress it up, we would use the Dominant 7 Arpeggio. We talk about that in the book. Bam, there's the book. And we talk about that in the other book as well. We got 2 ebooks on those arpeggios. So we're playing A7. That's an A7 arpeggio. The cool thing about arpeggios is the juxtaposition between the rock blues sound and the arpeggio. So you got some options always when you're playing a vamp like that. And I like the arpeggio because it gives us a different voice. Yeah. All right. And thanks. BB says, if you have a question, put a Q before it and we'll know. All right. Let's see. I'll be coming to Nashville to see you play at some point in the next year. Hope so. I'm posting more and more with my Bands in Town link to my website. So check out CoreyCongilio.com and there'll always be an updated list of shows. So a little Dorian would sound good with that. The audio and video is exceptionally good today. Oh, good. Well, hopefully it's the same all the time. But he's right. You know, if you're playing... you could definitely play a Dorian sound. But I love playing the chord tones from the arpeggio over top of a minor 7 chord. This is great. JD asks, I'm currently working on your rhythm courses. What would you recommend to tackle next? Well, I'd probably start like beginners up to intermediates. You know, the beginner blues, the intermediate blues rhythm, those are all really good. Blues guitar by yourself, which is like our most popular course on working class guitar, is a nice offering. And then also you might want to look at Complete Blues Volume 1. And from there, kind of sky's the limit from what you'd like to do. The reason I like Complete Blues Volume 1 is because it has actual examples. You play the rhythm and the lead to the example I'm playing, not one or the other. So it's like a 2-for-1 course. Yes, Mr. Al, indeed, it is an Andy Powers guitar. Let's see here. I always think of the G as the 5 of C. You know, it would be 1. The A would be the 5 of D, and it would be an A minor as well. So there you go. Chief says, strongly encourage anyone who isn't a VIP at Working Class Guitar to check it out. Great courses, great value, great community. Chief's got it figured out. It's a low price if you use our sale link for a monthly membership. It's generally less than one of your subscriptions for your streaming platforms. We keep it that way to keep everybody happy. We introduce anywhere between, I don't know, 6 courses a year at least. And then we have our monthly Zoom calls with all our VIPs. So it's this format, but it's a Zoom call so people can get on and chat and ask me questions. as well. It's really fun because we've just launched, like I said, the community where now everybody is interacting with each other. So it's growing and it's really fun. Tim Chalmers says, I'm a bit slow, but I've been working through the Arpeggio Handbook and have tons of fun while learning tons as well. That's great, man. It's a book I'm really proud of, and a lot of people have enjoyed it. Let's see here. Jeff says, in the handbook, we study arpeggios using scale degrees, but in the boot camp, we switch to the later names of the tones. Which should I concentrate on? I kind of like letter names and tones overall, Jeff, because that's what I think about. If I have to think when I'm playing, I like to think, oh, okay, I know what the sound of a flat 7 is against the root, or I know what the sound of a third is against the root. When I teach, I don't like to leave any stones unturned. That's why you'll often hear me call out string name, note name, fret, all that kind of stuff, because I want everyone to get an idea of what I'm doing regardless of your level of ability and how you like to learn. What Jeff is also referring to is we called it an Arpeggio boot camp. We did a 6-week boot camp where we took the chord progression to the old standard Autumn Leaves, and I made it a little bit more R&B modern feeling as opposed to an older swing jazz sound. But that song has the ability to teach us every arpeggio under the sun that we would need. Minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, and minor 7 flat 5. At least those categories will cover a large amount. So we'll run that. We only do those for limited enrollments. We'll probably do one closer to the end of the year. So it's a premium price. It's a lot more expensive than just a course. Not a lot more, but it's cheaper than a private lesson. But you get 6 weeks worth of videos, and then you get a Zoom lesson in the beginning and end of the call, as well as a full solo. So there's tons and tons of stuff in there. And it all is about these arpeggios. Let's see who else we got. All right. Hey, man, you're the fan of the week, VPO. Appreciate that. All right. Thanks, everybody, for checking in and telling us where we're at. Michael is a working class member from Massachusetts. Thanks, Michael. We won't tell anybody, Jim. You're safe. Your secret's safe with us. And Chief says the community's a great addition to working class guitar. Yeah, the community's fun. Just the easy. I mean, I know people don't like Facebook because they think like I'm just getting in arguments with my relatives about politics, but it's not like that at all. It's all about people playing their examples that I teach, interacting with each other, talking about their gear. It's a lot of fun. All right. And Vito, where's Vito at? He did a super chat. I haven't caught up yet, but I will. Thanks, Vito. He says howdy. Appreciate you being here. You can always throw in a super chat, folks, if you want, for any dollar amount you see fit. Let's see. Love the Gary Moore licks I teach. And yeah, I'll do some more Gary Moore someday. After the A7 demo, you're invited to join the British Blues Posse. I love all things British. I'm a big fan. Will you ever do the boot camp again? Yes, I will, Rich. Probably a little later this year. Boot camps are tough in the summer when everybody's gone and on vacation. Oh, right. So Corey just said, just order the Arpeggio book, but haven't been sent a link. The website froze on the confirmation page. Sorry about that. We will take care of that. We can just drop us an email, support@workingclassguitar.com, and our admin, Steve, will get right on it. If you had a time, I would say 90% of the time it goes through. The sale's fine. You just got to jump back into Working Class Guitar and log in and go to My Courses, and you'll see it in your library. But we'll get you set up. The funk course was great for rhythm as well. All my courses are great, he says. Thank you, James. Yeah, Funk Rhythm Foundation was a great course. We did that last month. It went really well. People really like it. The video text says Blues Volume 2, but link takes us to homepage, and only Blues Volume 1 is shown. Yeah, I might not have updated the link. We changed the name of Complete Blues Volume 2 because it was confusing people, and I feel like a lot of people weren't like ready to take the leap, and it's called Blues Beyond the Basics now, but it's the same course. And again, thank you, Vito, for the super chat. Good to have you in. Twisted Line says, awesome, I love how you slow everything down. You're very welcome. I feel like that's the best way, to learn. We all, learn at different paces, and I do a broad brush brand of teaching, and it has to hit everybody in a way that's able to be understood. So thanks for noticing that. All right, let's see. Oh, it says, never mind, I think my VPN caused a problem. Good. So yeah, VPNs and internet security and that sort of thing is usually the issue when pages are blank or they're not loading. We have to get folks to turn those off and then access the site usually. But our site's not a threat. It's just that your VPN company hasn't caught up to us. All right, so that's it so far. Anybody else got any questions regarding to playing? Today, to recap, we talked about minor 7 arpeggios, in fact, D minor 7 arpeggios. And again, that one on the top there, I left out the 6th string, but you can play an A and a C. You can play an A and a C. The stupid thing keeps rolling out at me. Sorry, here, A, C, D, F, A, C, D, F, A, C. And Sam was right, it's very much in the pentatonic scale, but I try to see them as an overlap in that scale as well. And also when I think of arpeggios, it gets me to think about different sounds. So if I want blues, now if I want that little walk up, you can hear the difference. Scale sounds a little more stair-steppy. The arpeggio cuts to the chase a little bit more. All arpeggio, scale. You can hear how I'm kind of mixing those in and out. And then we talked about using them also over an F chord. You can hear your ear wants to go back to the root. Nice line. Then, of course, we used it over G7. And we talked about the notes that are legal, but we want to bring it back to playing a minor pentatonic scale. So there's lots of fun stuff. You know, if you take that minor 7, what's really close is G7 arpeggios. So you can have all kinds of cool stuff at your fingertips once you see them. Sorry. That's D minor 7, G7, D minor 7. So there's all kinds of stuff available to us, but this is just the first step is learning some minor 7 arpeggios. And today's just a teaser. You know, we'll have more in-depth teaching in a book to come or in a course to come as well. But I see some folks had some questions. Just purchased the Arpeggio Handbook and Blues by Yourself course, had an issue with the site, but the courses did show up. Yeah, a lot of that, again, it can be internet security types things, but best thing to always do is just log in, log back out, and you'll be good. As long as you get a receipt in your email box, you'll be set. So sorry about that. And everybody's browser is different. And Mr. Al has a question. How much have your lessons expanded from your TrueFire days? That is a fantastic question, because the TrueFire model is to sit there and teach quickly and get a course done in 8 hours from 10 a.m. to whenever you end. And that is really challenging to do. And although they do it on a weekly basis, I mean, they have everybody coming in there to do courses, whether their emphasis is being a teacher or not. I mean, a lot of what they've done over the past 6 or 7 years have kind of brought in the ringers, whether they're someone that has an interest in teaching or not. They brought them in to make a course, and they do it really fast. So much so that a lot of times the instructors won't have anything charted. They'll just kind of play, and then their transcribers will transcribe it and make it a lesson. I know that's what they do with Robin. Robin comes in and plays, and they just make a course out of it. So what that helps me, to answer your question, having my own site allows me to take as much time as I want to make a course and to make the lessons as in-depth as I want. What we've actually started to do is, since those courses on TrueFire are my intellectual property, I'm able to kind of reteach them if I want. And we did that with a course that we launched a couple months ago called Blues Jam Companion. Those are lessons that we took from the Blues Fake Book course on TrueFire. I made them longer, I expanded, I talked more in depth, and then what that gave us an opportunity to do was, and I'm in the middle of it right now, I'm creating a lead companion course for that. So if you've ever been to a blues jam and you lock up because you're nervous and you don't know where to start, I'm giving you 2 solos per song that has tons of licks and ideas that you can lean on when you're in a blues jam to say, now I know where I want to start when I want to play Crosscut Saw, or Every Day I Have the Blues, or Sweet Home Chicago. So I don't think they've ever done a lead companion for any of those fake book courses. So I'm doing that now on my own, and it's going to be really fun. Hopefully we'll have it done in a couple weeks. I've already started shooting it yesterday, as a matter of fact. So it's great. I can do it right here at my own pace, and I can go as in-depth as I want. They told me immediately from the beginning that we want short lessons, kind of rip through it, And I think that's okay for the casual person, but somebody that wants a little bit more knowledge, they might need a longer lesson. So that's what I've done on my site. Rully Wow says, what model is that? This is the Powers Electric. This is the stop tail version. I've been using this in some lessons because it's lightweight. It sounds really good. And when I'm sitting here for an hour, it feels good. Oh, great question from Mossy Oak 1360. Any way to consolidate your courses from Udemy and Brett Papa to working class guitar? 100%, absolutely. Just email us at support@workingclassguitar.com and tell us what courses you have, and we'll add them to your account. If you don't have an account, we'll need to get you an account, but we can put everything in there. All the Udemy and Brett stuff is available to us. It took us a minute to get all of the Udemy stuff, but they're all in there, and no matter how many you've purchased, we can get them for you so that you log in and they're all in one place. Okay. Thanks, Keith. Great little emoticon there. Love that. Thanks, everybody, for being here. I think we got it. If you have any other questions about arpeggios in the next minute or two, feel free to fire away. But if not, I think we're going to wrap it up. Thanks to BV, our moderator at large here. BV does an amazing job supplying all the links. Let's talk about the links one more time. If you want to get that little PDF, you can. You're just going to have to click that link, sign up to Working Class Guitar. Just drop in your email, create an account, and you'll be able to download that and hundreds of other PDFs and downloads. You can enter to win the Kirk Hammett Greeny, inspired by Gibson Custom Shop Epiphone 1959 Les Paul Standard. It is US only, but we're still giving that away. And we're doing 25, my face is in the way. 60% off Arpeggio Handbook for Blues Guitar. Special deal for this live stream. We have 25 copies available for that. And after that, it will be still discounted, but not quite as much. So it's only 25 for there. All right. And let's take that off. Real good question, though, from Sam. What is the Teachable platform? So the Teachable platform is a website that you build your website on top of, basically. It's a platform that is designed for course creation. It's developed for a number of different things in the teaching space, but it's basically a platform that we build our site into. And the great thing about Teachable is that they're constantly updating and doing all kinds of new stuff. Like the community that we've just added is a Teachable product that they've built into our site. Our subscribers get it for free. There's a couple categories for non-subscribers too that they can check out. So we built this sort of insular community where folks can talk amongst themselves and share guitar stuff in a safe environment. Yeah, and Jeff Riniger gives his virtual clown whistle. Anybody who knows Jeff knows what we're talking about. Yeah, so there's the links, there's the info. You can, if you sign up to be one of our Working Class Guitar VIPs, we do this kind of thing on a private member-only Zoom call once a month, and it's a lot of fun. So BB's giving you all the links once again there in the chat. Gobble up those discounts on the course. Enter to win the Greeny Les Paul and get the minor arpeggio diagrams too. Tons of good stuff. I'm going to end it here, guys. Thank you so much. Always a blast. Thank you, BB, and everybody that joined us. We'll see you in a couple weeks.